Best football agents in UK. Ever wondered who the puppet masters are behind your favorite football transfers? Who masterminds those £80 million moves and secretive mega deals? Today, we peel back the curtain on the UK's most powerful football agents, the figures who shape the game from the sidelines. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit subscribe for more behind-the-scenes football drama. Now let's meet the men who made millions by moving players. Dennis Roach, the pioneer king. The story begins with Dennis Roach, the man who practically invented the modern football agent in Britain. In the early 1970s, Roach was an unassuming ex-player on holiday in Portugal when he crossed paths with Dutch legend Johan Cruyff. In a flash, he went from amateur to Cruyff's agent, negotiating the superstar's move to Barcelona. Overnight, Roach became a trailblazer. He set up his agency, Pro International, in 1973, and suddenly brokers were here to stay. Roach's knack was recognizing that European football was opening up. He engineered the world's first £1 million transfer when he moved Trevor Francis from Birmingham to Nottingham Forest. That blockbuster deal in 1979 sent shockwaves through the game. It blew away wage caps and showed what could happen when agents joined the mix. After that, every top player wanted Roach at the table. He counted the likes of Glenn Hoddle, Gaza, Paul Gascoigne, Terry Venables, and Harry Redknapp as clients. His negotiating style was shrewd and bold. Roach marketed players like commodities in a time when football was still cautious about money. He smashed through archaic wage rules by taking stars abroad, like pushing John Charles to Italy back in the 50s. In effect, he helped footballers become global brands, lifting transfer fees and salaries across Europe. Even though Roach ruffled feathers, Britain's football establishment resented these outsiders. His impact is undeniable. He would later become president of the World Agents Association, even as he earned a reputation for being a controversial figure. But every time fans cheered a big signing or saw a superstar in a new league, Roach's fingerprints were all over it. He may not be a household name today, but Dennis Roach laid the foundation for every agent that came after him. Tony Stevens, the marketing maverick. Fast forward to the 1980s and 90s, and a new wave of agents was rising. Bold deal-makers who saw football as big business. Chief among them was Tony Stevens. He started out as a Wembley Stadium marketing director, but quit to ride the football boom. He founded TSA, Tony Stevens Associates, in 1988, and soon built a client list full of high-profile talents. Stevens had an eye for marketability. He signed David Beckham, Alan Shearer, and Michael Owen, England's hottest exports. He didn't just negotiate contracts. He sold image rights and endorsements. He convinced players to grace cereal boxes, posters, and commercials. Remember that iconic England kit ad with Lineker and others? Agents like Stevens were behind those promotional deals. One of his signature negotiation styles was cross-sport and media savvy. When Beckham was Manut's golden boy, Stevens lined him up with sponsorships that eclipsed some club salaries. He understood that players could be global celebrities, not just athletes. Under his guidance, Beckham became a marketing machine. In 1998, Stevens made headlines when a U.S. sports marketing company paid £3 million for TSA, acquiring the rights to his clients. Suddenly, an American group controlled the careers of Beckham and Owen. This was a first for British football. A homegrown agency sold for multi-millions to foreign investors. It marked the moment the agent business in England became as big as Hollywood deals. Stevens himself stepped back, but his legacy lived on. He had helped turn footballers into global brands and proved that powerful deals could come from UK agents. Paul Stretford, the corporate closer. In 1987, Paul Stretford left school with big ambitions and founded his own agency. He was young, hungry, and saw an opportunity. Take the new generation of teen talents and make them megastars. Stretford scored a massive coup by signing a 17-year-old Wayne Rooney. Suddenly, his proactive sports management was at the forefront of UK agency business. Stretford's playbook was aggressive. He negotiated Rooney's move from Everton to Manchester United in 2004 for £27 million, one of the biggest deals for a teenager at the time. He extracted juicy sponsorships and image rights along the way. Stretford famously earned 20% of Rooney's off-field earnings, a cut Wayne later called fair in court, though many eyebrows were raised. He was also behind early big fees. In 1995, Stretford brokered Andy Cole's transfer from Newcastle to Man Utd for a record £7 million British fee. He helped arrange Rio Ferdinand's move to Leeds into Manchester United and worked with up-and-comers like Hugo Viana and Cristiano Ronaldo on their big breaks. In fact, Stretford briefly partnered with Jorge Mendes on some of Ronaldo's early moves. A key chapter in his story was going public. In 2001, Stretford floated his company on the London Stock Exchange, valued at over £30 million. Shareholders were a who's who of football legends: Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness, Kevin Keegan, and even Sir Bobby Robson. It was unheard of. A football agency as a PLC. Stretford had turned agenting into corporate enterprise. But his career was not without controversy. After a dispute with Rooney's other advisors, allegations emerged about misleading a young player and his family. Stretford himself admitted he hadn't fully explained the Rooney contracts when they were signed. In 2009, an FA ruling briefly docked his license. He ultimately accepted an 18-month ban, 9 months suspended. Despite the scandals, Stretford bounced back and remains a key figure in the industry. His story shows the double-edged sword of big deals. You can make millions, but you also make headlines. Willie Mackay, the Scottish operator. Not all agents came from law or business. Take Willie Mackay, a charismatic Scotsman who made a name moving players between England and France. Mackay's career has spanned decades, and his style has always been fearless. He isn't afraid to make waves. Mackay's clientele reads like a who's who of unpolished talent. He represented fiery striker James McFadden, mercurial winger Joey Barton, and solid pros like Pascal Chimbonda and Scott Brown. He was the man who convinced Joey Barton to sign for Qatar at 19, and later took Brownie to Celtic. Mackay's negotiation style was blunt and intense. Stories tell of him storming out of boardrooms or directly confronting coaches. He knew how to pressure clubs by threatening walkouts or media leaks. Often working from a quiet office in Monaco, Mackay shuttled players across leagues when no one else would. In 2011, he organized a shocker. Bristol's ex-stars El Hadji Diouf, Habib Bye, Frederick Piquion, and even Robert Pires all joined a struggling Doncaster Rovers on short loans in a bid to save them from relegation. It was like an A-team parachute into League One, and even Real Madrid legends like Diarra were linked through Mackay's connections. The gamble failed, Doncaster still went down, but it cemented Mackay's reputation as an agent who could pull dreams and dramas out of nowhere. However, Mackay's career also hit stormy waters. He was investigated in the 2006 Quest probe into transfer bungs, but no evidence of wrongdoing was found. He even won libel damages in 2008 over false media allegations. More recently, in 2019, Mackay was drawn into the Emiliano Sala saga. He had been the agent who brokered Sala's transfer to Cardiff, and when the tragic plane crash occurred, questions swirled about payments and communications. Mackay was arrested in a wide-ranging inquiry with Harry Redknapp and others, though he was never charged. He later provided documents to Cardiff City's lawsuit about the deal. Through all this, Willie Mackay remains undaunted. He's quick to deny any misconduct, once threatening legal action against a BBC reporter, then withdrawing it. But his myth persists. A gritty, old-school negotiator, working in the shadows, unafraid to haggle fiercely or ruffle feathers. He's a reminder that in football, deals can be just as turbulent as matches. Jonathan Barnett, the super agent. Finally, we arrive at the man who, today, sits at the very top of UK agency, Jonathan Barnett. A Londoner born in 1950, Barnett took a long road to super agent status. In the late 80s and 90s, he built stellar sports with business partner David Manassa. They started by managing boxers and cricketers, but soon turned fully to football, just as the Premier League was born. Barnett's philosophy is as no nonsense as it gets. He famously says he's not there to be players' friend, just their deal maker. And oh, how he delivers. In 2013, he engineered Gareth Bale's eye, watering £86 million move from Tottenham to Real Madrid, a world record fee at the time. To put that in context, that one transfer was more than most clubs spend in a year. His stable also grew to include megastars like Romelu Lukaku, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Raheem Sterling early on, and even managers. Forbes ranked Barnett among the top sports agents globally. In 2019, he was number 1 worldwide, negotiating $1.42 billion in fees. The Telegraph calls him a super agent. Barnett's influence goes beyond deals. He sold Stellar to Hollywood CAA in 2020. By 2020, FA CAA Hundivision was valued at hundreds of millions. Barnett stayed on as chairman of the football arm. This means he effectively brought a traditional British agency into the biggest talent conglomerate on the planet. He also expanded into America, chasing NFL clients in a bold London to a la swing. In short, Barnett treated being an agent like running a media empire. In personality, Barnett is blunt and businesslike. Unlike some agents who jet around befriending players, he's often on the road ticking off meetings. He insists his office can be modest. One story says his son had to go to a mechanic to get a car first, so Barnett could look the part of success. He likes to stay civilized in Europe, rather than the more adventuring style of rivals. This contrast is clear. While Casey Wasserman's agency, US-based but London active, has agents jet-setting worldwide and ingratiating themselves as quasi-friends of players, Barnett keeps the suits on and the phone calls crisp. He's all about the contract. Yet even Barnett hasn't escaped controversy. In mid-2025, serious allegations surfaced accusing him of trafficking and abuse, charges he denies, which are still playing out in the headlines. These claims are shocking and have tarnished his image, though nothing is proven. It's a reminder that these agents' lives, often private, can explode under scrutiny when lawsuits and scandals hit. Regardless, Barnett's mark on football is immense. He helped transform agenting from a sideline hustle into a 9-figure industry. The players he moved, and their clubs, have changed who wins on the pitch, how huge salaries balloon. In him, we see the modern game's double-edged dynamic. This deal-making titan made players richer and the sport global, while sparking debates about money overtaking the love of the game. From Dennis Roach's first £1 million transfer to Jonathan Barnett's $1 billion brokerage empire, British football agents have quietly ruled the transfer market. They are the architects of some of the sport's biggest headlines. These agents turn savvy negotiation into an art form, sometimes charming clubs into compliance, sometimes battling bitter wars over a player's next step. Each agent we covered, Roach's pioneering vision, Stevens' marketing flair, Streckford's corporate deals, McKay's fearless hustle, and Barnett's global power, helped reshape football. They each have unique negotiation styles. Roach's pioneering boldness, Stevens' celebrity branding, Streckford's aggressive corporate tactics, McKay's no-nonsense grit, Barnett's disciplined business acumen. Their client lists read like football royalty. Their record fees have reset the market, and their mistakes have sparked new regulations. Together, they have left a huge impact. The Premier League and Champions League players we watch on TV, the staggering salary figures and sponsorship deals, it's all connected to these behind-the-scenes deal-makers. They've elevated the idea of an agent from mere messenger to multi-millionaire power player. Now we want to hear from you. Which agent's story shocked you the most? Do you think these deal-makers have improved the sport or hurt its purity? Drop a comment and let us know who you think is the greatest agent of all time. And if you enjoyed this look inside the football machine, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. After all, every great match needs a behind-the-scenes storyteller, and we've got plenty more where this came from.